Assalamu alaikum. In video of lecture 9, we discussed how problems can be solved by using search. We also discussed uninformed searches. Some tree and graph related concepts were also discussed as a refresher. We also covered breadth first search. Now in this lecture, we will cover depth first search, which is another classical uninformed search algorithm. This is agenda for today's discussion. In depth first search, we expand the nodes in the depth of the tree. DFS algorithm starts at the root node and explores as far as possible along each branch before backtracking. The idea of depth first search is simple. In a tree or a graph, we have to go forward depth-wise until we cannot go any further. Then we backtrack. By backtracking, it means that we have reached the dead end, thus move back and choose another path for exploration. Stack data structure is used for depth first search. Let's learn DFS with help of an example. Consider the tree as shown. This tree has 15 nodes labeled A to O. Requirements for DFS are stack data structure and an output array that gives final sequence of the search. Initially, both stack and output array would be empty as no node has been visited yet. The red arrow marks position of control. Search always starts from initial root node. When depth first search starts, the control would be at node A, which is root node of this example. When the algorithm starts, A will be pushed in the stack. Node A has turned gray to show that it has been visited. At this point, algorithm will check for children of A. Remember the root left child, right child regime from lecture 9. Same criteria will be followed for next node selection here as well. As left child of root node A is B, thus control will be given to node B. B would be pushed in the stack as stack is LIFO, that is last in first out, thus current active node is B instead of A, which means that any available operations can only be applied on current active node, which is B. You can add and remove B only. You can only search the children of B only. You cannot access A as B is pushed above A in the stack. Thus, after pushing B in the stack, candidate for control would be node D following root left child, right child criteria. Here, root will become B and D will be its left child. From here, it can be seen that this algorithm moves in the depth of the tree. B has turned gray as it has been visited and D has control now. B has also been placed in the output list. D will be pushed in the stack. Pushing D in stack will change state of B from active to paused. Now active node is D. The algorithm will look for children of D and control will be given to the leftmost child, which is H. D will also be pushed in the output list. H will be pushed in the stack. Pushing H in stack would change state of D to paused. Now active state is H only. All other nodes are in paused state. At this point, the algorithm will check for the children of H. There are no children of H here, thus it reaches the dead end. H is also placed in the output list. When a dead end is reached, the DFS algorithm starts to backtrack. This is where stack data structure comes in handy. As H is leaf node and it has no children, thus it would be removed from stack But output array would have its information saved for printing final sequence of DFS traversal. When H is removed from stack, the node after H in stack, which is D, will regain the status of active. This is backtracking, as we have backtracked from child to parent node. Here again, children of D will be checked. The algorithm will return the information that left child H has already been visited and only the right child remains. Now the unvisited right child of parent node D will be given control, which is I in this example. I will be pushed in the stack. Once again, algorithm reaches the dead end. As I is a leaf node, I will also be placed in the output list. As I was leaf node, it has no children to explore, thus it will be removed from the stack and D will once again become active. As all children of D have been visited, thus D will also be removed from the stack. After D is removed, node B will become active, as it is next in the stack after node D. As B is now active, children of node B will be checked. As B's left child D has already been visited, thus the unvisited child E will be given control now. E will be pushed in the stack. This will pause B once more and E will become active. Notice the output list, it has now E as well. After E is activated, children of E will be checked and the control will move towards the leftmost child of E, which is J, as per algorithm. J will be pushed on the stack. This will pause E. Output list will be updated with J as well. After J is activated, its children will be checked and algorithm will find that J has no child and is a leaf node. Once more, dead end has been reached. The algorithm will backtrack now. J will be popped out of the stack as it has no child. Removing J will activate E once again. Remaining children of E will be searched for control and will move towards the unvisited node K. In this way, the algorithm keeps pushing and popping nodes in and from stack until the complete tree is traversed. Let's discuss technicalities of depth first search. DFS algorithm is not guaranteed to be complete when used for trees having infinite depth. It will keep on searching forever and get stuck in the depth, as backtracking will never occur. However, it is complete when depth is finite. It has time complexity of branching factor raised to power of max tree depth. Its time complexity is not great when maximum depth m is infinite. Its time complexity is good when tree is dense, which means it has more children or has more branching factor as compared to breadth first search. Space complexity is branching factor multiplied by max tree depth. The longest possible path is m, and for every node in that path must maintain a fringe of size b. Of course, the algorithm is not optimal, as it might not always return the best outcome. There can be many paths that can lead to goal. The algorithm will return the first instance of path that is found searching, and it might not be the best one. Now we will discuss when using depth first search is advisable and when not. Depth first search is advisable to be used when space is limited and graph or trees to be searched are small. If tree has infinite depth, then DFS must never be used, as it will go on running forever, wasting space and time. It is also not suggested to use depth first search when graph has cycles, as it might get stuck in loop. Depth first search is good when goals tend to occur in the depth of the tree. DFS is inappropriate when paths have infinite length or the graph contains cycles. Some solutions are very deep while others are very shallow. This ends the discussion for today's lecture. Allah Hafiz.